"13 days in, and here we are at the semi-final stage of the Betfred World Snooker Championship. We're down to the final four. We're down to the final table. Alan McManus is alongside me today, and we're going to talk through what's happened earlier on to begin with. The first semi-final between John Higgins and David Gilbert, and we've picked out arguably the most exciting point of the session, Alan, because David very, very nearly registered a 147 break.
That would have been one of the most monumental efforts ever at the Crucible, and there's been lots of them. I actually thought at the time, I was quietly glad that Dave didn't do it in a way, because it would have just like the roof would have come off of this place, and I don't know what he would have done for the rest of the session, but he was very good today.
And he looked so relaxed, didn't he?
Yeah, he has all week. You know, we keep saying it. He's been gradually improving for the last couple of years, and he's showing it now in the big stage.
Well, there's confirmation of the score after the first session. So David Gilbert leads by 2 frames. And to seal that session, he actually registered a century break and a half century as well. And that, of course, resumes tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. But our focus tonight is Judd Trump against Gary Wilson. And Gary, quite literally, has been the surprise package, hasn't he, this whole tournament?
Very much so. You know, he's a very accomplished player. The boys on the tour all know about him, how good he is, how good he can be. But this is really the first time he's did it on a huge stage in the UK, and all the eyes are on him.
Yes, and he hasn't actually won a ranking title, has he? And if we look at the head-to-head between Judd and Gary, Judd, of course, is the more experienced in that he's been here before, he's won 10 ranking titles, but very interestingly, they have only met on one occasion, but on that one occasion, it was Gary Wilson that won.
He did. He beat Judd out in Yushan in China, so that's a feather in his cap. Nice little memory to take in tonight. Whether he can carry it forward, we'll see. Well,
he very nearly got off to a perfect start today, didn't he?
He did. He broke off. Judd potted a trademark long red, made 46. Gary missed this pink on a break of 61. If he knocks that in, he gets the perfect start, 1-0 in front. Unfortunately for him, Judd did the mopping up, and he's under a little pressure out there.
He really is. We've spoken about the fact that you treat the semi-finals, or you treat all of these matches as individual, so each session is an individual match. But in this one, it's important to get off to a really strong start, is it not?
It is. The last thing Gary Wilson wants is to turn in tonight 6-2, 7-1 behind. You know, if that was to happen, you would maybe worry for him tomorrow. But he only has one session tomorrow, so I think that helps him too.
OK, well, let's join this session live. Gary Wilson is at the table. Trump took the first frame, of course, and your commentary team are Ken Doherty and Dennis Taylor.
Thank you, Seema. You join us. It's Gary Wilson is trying to get the second frame, and he's had some terrific pots. He had one great cut into the middle pocket. Everything looked safe. Judd was in with 24 and missed, but have a look at this for a thin cut, tight on the cushion, and he cut that in, and now he's got himself a tricky red here along the cushion. He only needs it. He's missed it. Well, he's indicating that it might have drifted, but I don't think he hit that all that well there, Ken.
Yeah. Be interesting to have another look at that. Yeah, it looked like he hit it to the far jaw, didn't it? It's not on for a pot, so just a clever little shot from Judd. If you can get this snooker using the black in it.
Well, it's only the second frame of the best of 33, but he doesn't want to be losing this one after missing the pink in the opening frame. First frame only lasted just over 12 minutes. Oh, I think he may be fortunate. He's hit the yellow and the blue. Has snookered Gary. As you can see, he needs a bit of good luck here. You can only do that. Hope to hit it and get it safe. And it's not safe. Well,
Quiet down, please.
Well, it's not safe, but it could have been a lot easier, that's for sure. We've got to be careful here when trying to pot this red. We've got to watch the cue ball. It doesn't go near that left centre pocket. No.
no. You see, with that type of shot, so close to the black, you've got a little bit of unwanted side there. And what a chance for Gary. Only needs the red.
One.
He'll be mightily relieved, Ken.
It certainly will. This black to stop Judd Trump coming back to the table. Well, you see it, 38 points ahead, 27 just left. So 3-4 point snookers required. I don't think Judd Trump will entertain that.
Gary Wilson, 8.
He stays in his chair,
And the
Judd
frame.
Trump. Signals to the referee, Olivier Martil. That's enough. So a very relieved Gary Wilson gets his first frame on the board. It's Judd Trump 1, Gary Wilson 1.
So Gary levels the score, but it's a little bit like what we saw earlier on, a little bit of a cagey start to this one.
Very much so. The first frame was good, but then it's almost like reality kicks in, and it's like, oh, I've got a 1-0 lead, I'm 1-0 down, how's this going to pitch? There's a bit of jockeying for position out there. Bean's quite scrappy, but here's a red for Gary that he feels has actually just turned up the last 6 or 8 inches on the way to the pocket. Difficult to tell there, but he didn't strike it properly. Judd then has another chance to get the 2-0 lead, and this was nowhere near. I mean, it's awkward cueing, yes, but having missed that, Gary will be over the moon to be sitting there at 1 apiece.
He really will be. Do you think that the misses are down to the fact that there's just those nerves? It takes a bit of time to sort of get used to the surroundings as well?
I think so. You know, I think when you have a long match, best of 33, in an ideal world, you want a 3-frame, 4-frame lead, and I'm sure one of them will have that at some stage, but you've got to earn that. You know, obviously early on it's going to be nervy. That's just the way it always is.
Well, you've been there before. What is it like? What is it like when you walk out into the arena for the first time and it's just the one table?
If you can treat it as fun, but you're working at the same time, then that's the best way to approach it. But it ain't easy. What you have to have is good form under your belt. If you've got that, then you can go out and say, oh, this is fun, I'm enjoying this. And that. But if you don't, you've got to pretend that you're enjoying it, and that's not nice.
It's interesting that you say you've got to have fun, because is it easy to have fun? Is it easy to enjoy it at this stage?
As I say, it's easy to enjoy it when you're playing well. It's good, though, that both players have got a frame in the board. That's the important thing. Set up nicely.
Well, we are certainly enjoying it. Back to frame 3 we go.
Well, both these players have come into the semi-final with some very good form, it has to be said. And he's cued well across that one again. So, I mean, he looks so good in the opening frame, Judd, but then if you watch this again, he's just cueing across the ball somewhat. So that's early worrying signs for Judd and his camp. Meanwhile, Gary Wilson will have forgotten the pink he missed in the opening frame and can settle down a little bit, but I think he's the sort of player who's going to cope with these conditions. I really do. I think he'll relish the one-table situation here.
Yeah, I totally agree, Dennis. I think he's really enjoying it. Looks very calm, composed, and that's what you've got to do out there. Enjoy the challenge. He's going to get a lot of help from his opponent if he keeps missing balls like that distance. That will settle Judd Trump a bit.
5.
particularly if Gary Wilson takes advantage of those mistakes.
I think after he came through that last frame win against Luca Bissell, the longest frame
12.
in the history of the Crucible, at just over 69 minutes, I think from that he's just got stronger and stronger. Just let the cue ball slip away. Sometimes it's difficult to control that, but he's okay if he rolls the black in. There's a red to the right of the bunch that he can get on. But we know they're tough when you're near the cushion. Key early. Important shot here. Good cueing. Excellent cueing. Left himself a choice of reds.
Well, that tells you how well he's cueing off the side cushion. Didn't try and just drop it in dead weight. Played it with full top spin to be on either the red to the left, which he's on now, or a little bit slower. He would have been on this red to the right, as you mentioned. Those are the type of shots, aren't they, Dennis? Off the cushion,
21.
you know, those blacks under a bit of pressure. Just cued them in nicely. Really settle you down.
Yeah, and one of the best ever at that awkward shot when you're on the cushion was our own John Parrott. Very rarely did he miss when he was tucked up on a cushion.
29.
Just short of pace. He wanted to be straight on this red. He's got the red up
36.
into the top right hand corner pocket. It's dead straight. It shouldn't be too much of a problem, but he wanted to be straight on the one into this bottom right hand corner pocket. So red up into the green pocket, as we call it. Yeah, all the way.
37.
And there'll be one very interested Geordie watching Gary. He sent me a message after Gary won his last game.
44.
Tim Healy from Benidorm and Arvidas Empet. He was here when I managed to win back in 1985, and he's a big fan of Gary. He's cheering him on.
Still got that red, the loose red. That's on the extreme right of all the reds. Tried to just nudge another red out.
52.
Didn't manage to do that, but was always going to be on this red. Played that nicely.
I think he's got an angle. He doesn't have to do much with this. If he drops it in, I'm sure he can just get round the back of the black here. I mean, he can stun it if it's not a natural, but I think that will be available to him.
Thank you.
Inch perfect.
53.
I must say, I've been very impressed with Gary Wilson. His cue ball control throughout this championship. It's been top drawer. One more loose red. And when he plays this loose red, he release the red
60.
to the right of the pink into the left centre pocket. He could bring one of these two reds, when potting this red, below it into play as well. The 2 reds below this red. You could just brush off it. He's a little bit wary of doing it in case he snookers himself on the black, but what would you do here, Dennis?
Well, if he was 60 in front or 60 behind, he'd definitely play the cannon, so that's why he doesn't want to risk it in case he just runs out of position.
61.
Yeah, it was one of those funny little choices he had. Do I risk the cannon or do I wait and get the cannon or on a red from the black? He's played to leave the red to the middle, so he's certainly thinking clearly out
68.
there. Just needs this red. This is fabulous from this player who, as I said, Ken, I just think he'll relish the one-table situation and
76.
being in the semi-final of the World Championship. He's worked so hard
77.
to get here.
Yeah, and again, Dennis, his cue ball control throughout this break has been impeccable, to say the least. Has not been out of position once in this break. Been wonderful.
84. '85.
And if Judd thought that Gary Wilson, because it's his first time in the semi-final, that he was going to be a little bit nervous, he realises now that he's in for a big match here because his opponent
92.
is sending all the signals that he's not nervous one little bit.
93.
He's had 7 centuries so far this year in the Betfred World Championship. We've had 82, chasing that
98.
record of 86 set in 2015 and 16. But this is wonderful, and every ball going right in the
99.
center of the pocket. Another milestone in the career of Gary Wilson. He makes his first century break on the one-table situation here in the Crucible Theatre.
105.
Off the start, this is
106.
Absolutely fantastic. He played a cue ball in and out of ball, in between yellow and brown. Beautiful, well played.
113.
He's really turning on the style here. Oh,
115.
calm down, Gary, calm down.
Thank you.
And there's a possible 140 on here.
180.
The high break at the moment is held by his opponent, Judd Trump. Magnificent break of 141. Going to come up one short.
122. 127.
He must be feeling pretty good inside. This is wonderful stuff.
133.
What a magnificent clearance from the Geordie, Gary Wilson. A break of 140, and it takes him into a 2-frames-to-1 lead.
Very impressive there from Gary Wilson. He seals the frame with a century break. And if we look at the list, he tops it. He's now registered 8 centuries across this tournament. He looks like he's showing no signs of slowing down.
What pressure? It doesn't exist out
it's
there.
fun.
Easy game. Easy game. No, he's having an absolute ball. As I said, once you get a frame on the board, you settle into your game, and he's just playing. That was perfect. It really was.
And is it fair to say also, Alan, that the way he won that frame, he made a bit of a statement, didn't he?
Yeah, there was a little sign in it. I loved a couple of shots he played. He plays this black that's really difficult dropping it in. He's playing it with some power. It's about 3 or 4 times more difficult that way, but it's this shot. Look at the outside left red, the wing ball. That's the easy one. He doesn't want that. He wants a little brush cannon, push another red just top side of black, open up the frame for a one-hit wonder, and it was that was as good as it gets.
Is the biggest test for him now whether he can maintain this level? Because it is the best of 33. It's the first to 17 frames. There is a long way to go.
Do you know what? I can only go on a feeling, and I don't think his standards are going to drop all that much. Judd's going to have to step up, because this boy, it's not just that he ain't going to go away. He just looks like he's in the form of his life, and he also looks like he's having the time of his life. And if he is, this is the place you want to be doing it.
And, you know, we talk about tiredness, we talk about having to have stamina and endurance for a tournament of this length. He's played 6 matches to get to this stage, because he went through qualifying.
Exactly. He'd 8 days at the Institute, just a couple of miles along the road. He's been here. He's actually... The other thing about it is when you're in the heat of battle for about 3.5 weeks, as he has been, you become immune to pressure, and you just think, this is normal, that's normal, tons are normal. It's looking normal.
It really is. Well, let's head back to frame 4.
It's been a good point Alan makes in the practice room, that he's been here for 3.5 weeks. You know, he had 8 days of qualifying, win 3 matches to get here. It's interesting. You'd think that maybe he might get a little bit jaded. Well, he certainly doesn't look like it.
Mind you, adrenaline's a wonderful thing here when you play for 17 days. It keeps you going. Oh, that's a mistake. That's a mistake.
Thank you.
Funny, it's Judd Trump who's looking the more nervous of the two. I mean, we talked about the experience. Judd Trump's 4th semi-final. Gary Wilson's 1st, of course. And looks like it's roles reversed at the moment.
1.
He's okay. Okay. It's not the black that he would have hoped for, but it's still potable. Just lost the cue ball. Red going into the left-hand side of the pocket. This is not easy, particularly with the rest.
Pretty good record with the rest. I think it's something like 85%, but that was difficult with the distraction of the red right next to his cue. Olivier Martel just making sure he gets the black. It
8.
mustn't be touching that red. You'd love that black to have gone up onto the blue spot, wouldn't he? He could then have potted the red that's next to the black.
Gary Wilson, 8.
That's a pretty good length for the safety, though. He's got a terrific support here, has Gary. He really got a fabulous welcome, as Judd does. Judd Trump, very popular. Wherever he goes all over the world, people love watching his style of play. Well, that's not what he was after there. I think he was trying to knock that red onto the red and black to open it. And he might just be able to, yeah, He can get past the yellow. The only thing, a natural angle would take him into the red, so he's got to get a little bit of screw on this. Might cannon the red and black. Well, he did. That went all wrong. He queued across that one as well, Ken, didn't he, a little bit?
Certainly did. And now, chance for Judd Trump as we see this red again. Certainly wiped its feet. Now, what can Judd Trump do? It's been put up to him already in this first little mini session. Let's see what response we can get from him. Looking at having this red just left of the pink into the right centre. Looks pretty tight. Oh, this is an excellent shot. Beautifully cued. Just off straight, that black, but it's just amazing the amount of topspin he can generate in the cue ball and get the distance to get it out there. It's a wonderful shot. I'd love to get this pink onto the blue spot if you can. Drop the red in, take the pink to the right centre.
Thank you.
Looks pretty good.
9.
And Judd will be trying to make a statement here after watching that magnificent 140 break. He'd love to win this frame with a frame-winning break and go to the mid-session interval all square.
I'll tell you, Olivier Martel has got his work cut out here. Well, maybe the pink does spot.
It's an awkward one, that. You need a steady thumb.
You wouldn't want to have the shakes down that, would you, Dennis?
Thank you. 15.
Well, we're going to be leaving you there, I'm afraid, but this match continues on the red button and online. I'm back later tonight to bring you the highlights from the first day of the semi-finals. You can join me at 11:15 on BBC Two. Well, that's it from Alan and I. Thanks for your company. Good night.